Hi, Todd VanDenburg here with VanDenburg Capital Management and another Uncommon Sense update. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. It's 2024. Hard to believe. I think I say this at the beginning of every year, but I just still have these vivid memories of the Y2K thing, all the fears of getting between 1999 and 2000 and how that was going to end the world. And here we are, 24 years later, and, we're still plugging away. So I hope everybody had a good holiday season. Today, I just want to talk about sort of where we might be headed for 2024. And at the risk of being a chicken, the short answer is, I can't tell you with 100% certainty. There's so many variables that go into what could be happening this year. But the number one thing that I think will drive market performance is what the Federal Reserve does. But before I talk on that, I just want to show you just a quick chart that shows sort of where we came from in 2023. And as you can see from this chart, we had some ups and some downs, followed by some ups and some downs. And then we got late in the year, what was that, September, October, and it was just horrible. And then we hit November and December, and it was, just unbelievably good. And that's sort of going to be the nature of what we expect the markets to be, and maybe even a little more choppy. And so now I'll go back to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has at least indicated that they might be done raising interest rates, the Fed funds rate. And we view that as a good thing because we think that they've taken them too high too fast, but they let them stay too low for too long. So it's not uncommon that the Federal Reserve, does things that we don't think are necessarily like the smartest. But in any case, I digress. I'm going to show you another quick chart that are the expectations of the different Federal Reserve regions. And they basically ask them, how many rate cuts, where do you think rates are going to be in 2024? And on average, they think that the Fed funds rate is going to drop to, on average, about 4.6%. But that the majority of the people that they surveyed said that it would be between 4.3 and 4.8. So the overall average being 4.6. So the consensus of all the members of the Federal Reserve is that the rates are coming down, and so just the big unknown is when and how many times and by how much. Right now they're talking about maybe a full 1% over the course of 2024, but if it's a 0.5%, then the markets probably don't react favorably. And if it's 1.5% that it comes down, then the markets maybe react super favorably. So now keep in mind, there are other things that can be impacting the markets in 2024. There still is a war going on, two wars actually going on, one with Ukraine and Russia, and the other with Israel and what it's doing in Gaza for reasons that I won't go into. But there's real global conflict going on, and there's concerns that either of these two conflicts escalate and pull the United States in a more direct way. Now, if that happens, again, more unknowns, that could have a really bad impact on the economy, the markets, the global markets. Not trying to be overly pessimistic, just trying to back up where I started, which is I can't tell you for 100% certainty because right now the Federal Reserve has spent the better part of 2023 trying to beat to death the U.S. economy in the attempt to bring down inflation. They've accomplished that. I'm not so sure that it was because of their rate cuts, but again, that's a whole different story. Inflation has come down, but inflation is still up roughly 17% from almost 3 years ago. So prices are still higher, and now we just have to get used to this new normal. If we can keep inflation from continuing to rise, at 7, 8, 9% and keep it closer to 2, 3, 4%, then at least people have a chance to try to catch up or at least keep up with the rates of inflation. So when I look at 2024, I generally believe that the Fed's going to cut rates. So I'm not negative about the prospects for 2024. So we could see anywhere from the markets being a little down to flat to maybe even the Dow reaching numbers that I'm not even going to say, because I said it at our holiday party a couple weeks ago, and so I'll just leave it at that. It's going to be a volatile year. It's going to be a volatile year because there's no clear direction as to what the Federal Reserve is absolutely going to do. And if you think about it, right, the housing sector has just been decimated. There's home sales are not happening. Building permits are starting to pick up again, and so builders, I think, are sort of anticipating rate cuts because it's just the interest rate is higher than an entire generation of people have gotten used to seeing. So when an entire generation of people are used to seeing 2.875 up to 3.5% interest rates, and now they're at 7 or more, that's just a shock. And so that kind of activity, if we can get rates to come back down, that generates all kinds of economic activity that can be great for the U.S. economy. So in general, not pessimistic for 2024. There is an election you may know coming later in the year, and I'll have more to say on that as we get closer. But right now it looks like it's going to be another rematch of Biden versus Trump, and there's if you believe polls, then maybe you think one side's going to win and the other one's not going to win. But we've got a long way to go. A lot can happen. A lot can happen to either of those two candidates that could cause the ultimate contest to maybe even be between two different people, which honestly I think a lot of people would like. So don't be pessimistic. Just like I told people when I was getting calls in September, October, when the markets were down, I was getting calls about, should I get out of the markets? Should I get some 5% CDs or go all into cash and wait for things to settle out? And I talked a lot of people out of that. And now they've been rewarded, as November and December were just amazing. I mean, we made up anything that was lost in September, October, and then some to finish the year in positive territory. So don't be greedy, be an investor, don't be a speculator. And unless something fundamentally changes with the data for the U.S. economy, things could be up significantly like they were this year. They could be flat, they could be down a little, and it's all going to depend on what the Fed does. So as the Fed, makes actions throughout the year, we'll be making changes because, then we have real data. But we don't tend to make changes here based upon, expectations and hype and all that kind of stuff. So I hope everybody has, a healthy, happy, and prosperous 2024. We're looking forward to an amazing year here, and we hope that you have an amazing year too. So if you have any questions about this or any other financial matter, please, feel free to call me, text me, email me, whatever. I respond to stuff, all the time. Doesn't matter whether I'm in Texas or whether I'm in California. I respond typically within an hour or two from any communication that I receive. So that was your update. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like, give us a share, and I'll be back again soon with another Uncommon Sense update. Thanks for watching.
If you'd like to be the first to hear of more Uncommon Sense updates like these, please click the subscribe button below. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks again.